What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Strength Solutions Podcast. We're on Apple and Spotify. You can rate and review us. And if you want a good laugh, check us out on YouTube. You'll see my amazing hair and Nathaniel's amazing baldness.
Yeah, there you go. We're switching today.
We're switching, yes. And you could comment below. Then we have our website, strengthsolutionspodcast.com. You have free blogs, free guides, and programs for purchase. strengthsolutionspodcast@gmail.com. That's where you could get good old fitness questions to us. Then if you're looking for us on social media, it's Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, Strength Solutions Podcast. I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
Okay, dude. So I've been talking to clients and I got clients that like to drink.
Me too.
They I could throw me down a good glass of wine. I was like, glass or bottle?
Yeah.
Like, give me.
I have clients who throw back bottles every night.
So I'm like, okay, you say you want to cut.
Yeah.
But you want to be able to have your glass at night. The best way to enjoy your life long term is to build muscle.
Yeah.
And the reason being is the more muscle you have, the more you can get away with extra calories.
Right.
The better you recover from certain things. And your best insurance of life is to build as much muscle as possible that is in a healthy range for yourself.
Yeah. It builds that buffer, and I know some people kind of argue it's like, oh, it doesn't build your metabolism that much or whatever, but it does. It builds a good...
My argument would be that it doesn't build your metabolism that much. It's dependent on individual genetics, because I can have a client same weight as somebody else, builds the same amount of muscle. Their metabolism jumps up 500-600 calories, while the other client maybe only 300. There's a lot of factors that go into the metabolism besides just how much muscle you build, but it's a good buffer.
Right. Regardless, though, to your point, right, it's that it does something no matter what. It's going to give you a little bit more of that space over time to allow you to enjoy things like that. Like, I always take, for example, when I was in high school, a lot of the guys that I knew that were in sports and stuff like that could just get away eating anything, right? It's because they worked out all the time. They probably had a lot more muscle mass than the rest of us. Their testosterone was probably crazy. They had a lot of things going for them. Over time, right, they kind of stay in that mentality, but their bodies change. They don't work out as much. And then they start to gain a lot of weight over time, right? Because they didn't change any of their dietary habits. And it's mostly because of that loss of muscle mass. If they had kept that same activity level, they had kept that same muscle mass, they'd probably still be able to get away with some of the things that they were doing back when they were younger. But over time it changes. And so I agree. One of the main things I tell people all the time, whether you're trying to lose weight, whether you're trying to just get healthier, no matter what, the answer is building muscle.
Yeah. So I think a big part, you're talking about being active. And I believe we read a study where calories really haven't changed since like the 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
Calories are the complete same. It's probably the quality of nutrition and then the lack of activity that we have today. Think about every job that's out there right now. Sit down at a desk all day and do nothing.
Yep.
Physical activity is a must now, where before it was a choice.
It was an option. Yeah.
So go out there, build some muscle, and create this buffer for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And this leads me to another idea. Like at every age, doesn't matter for your health that you have to work out, because you're going to work out and get better at any age. So let's say I don't work out and I'm 50 years old. I'm going to get better. So you could create a buffer at any age of your life.
Right. Yeah. One of my clients had sent me a article. I don't know if maybe we'll talk about it later, but there was an article that he had sent me for like older people should get personal trainers. Right. That was like sort of the topic of the article. And it was like, as you get older, it's more and more important to exercise, right, to train, to move your body, etc. But it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter if you start when you're 50. I have clients who started working out when they're 65. This is their first time ever being consistent in the gym, working with the trainer, whatever it is. And so it's not that, you get to a certain age and it's just like, it's over now, it's just done. You can, like you said, build that buffer at any age. Even if I have a client who's like 80 you were just talking about a client that you have that's a little bit older, right? And it's like they're still
what
there.
you talking about, Willis?
They're working out, right? They're building something upon themselves, no matter what age they are, whether you're 30 or you're 50 years older than that.
I think people need to get over it. Like, you just got to do it.
Yeah. And I don't know what it is too, because I know I've told that story a long time ago where I was at a sort of like trampoline park for kids, and there was this lady with her son, and her son wanted her to go play, and she was like, I'm 40 years old. Like, I can't do that. And I was like, you just built this like arbitrary limit on yourself that you're no longer able to be active because you're 40 years old. Yeah, like, it's just so weird. And that's not even old.
I was going to talk about this later, but since you're talking about words, you sent me this TikTok about lifting and using words.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And so in the video itself, they're talking about how saying negative things to yourself, right? Like, oh, I can't lift it, or, oh, it's going to be super heavy, this is going to hurt, whatever, can actually impact the amount of weight that you can lift. And they said that even saying just one positive word, and for example, he used the word yes, right? That it helps you in the lift, even, or primarily mentally, right? It changes your perspective. It changes your thought process about the lift, how confident you are, and your ability to actually move the weight, Yeah,
because it sends out a signal to your stress hormones, right?
Right.
And the stress hormones are what's going to stop you from your lift.
Exactly. It's going to fog your brain, right? It's going to make you feel weaker. It's going to make you feel like you're unprepared. So then your body's not going to allow you to move into those positions or get the lift up or whatever it is. And so it's funny, whenever I try and take a bar off, especially if I'm doing like a bench press, I'll just go like super light. This is super easy, and it really does help. Cause whenever, you're psyching yourself out and you're out there. Yeah. And then if you do it too much, then you're like, oh shit, I can't lift it at all. You know? And it's like, fuck, it's
there's like
heavy.
A fine line, right?
It's funny because I have a client right now who we're working on bench press. And one of his favorite things to do when he takes off the rack from the bar, he goes, come on, you fucking pussy. And I'm like, I don't know if this is positive. I don't know if you're being negative right now. But I think for him, I've told him before too, I was like, I don't think that it's a question of strength right now for you to push the amount of reps that you want at this weight. I think it's all mental. Yeah. He gets into his head, and like at rep number 5, he's like, there's no way I could do it anymore, you know? And then at that point we've doomed ourselves, And the thing is that I've seen him do it more. I've seen him do like 7 reps, stuff like that. And it's like, but at this point we're just sort of stuck, and I'm like, it's all in your head, bro.
It makes me think of Ronnie Coleman's Genius.
Yeah, bro.
Lightweight, baby.
Yeah, dude. Ain't nothing but a peanut. Yeah. Like, really, it is funny. One of the comments said that. They were like, oh, so when I scream lightweight baby in the gym, I'm actually helping myself. And the guy was like, yeah. It's like, yeah, man, that shit helps a lot, dude. It sets you up, It just gives you a good perspective.
Let's talk about, do you think you're a genius?
What do you mean, do I think I am? Of course I am.
Oh, sorry. So NASA was looking for geniuses, and so this guy, I forgot his name, was looking to do these studies to figure out how many people are geniuses that they can like recruit for NASA. It ended up being 2% of adults. But in the study, he goes into asking kids, and it's all based off of a creativity test. And so at 5 years old, did you know at 5 years old, 98% of people are geniuses? Then 5 years later, it is at 30% of people.
So when they're 10.
Then when they're 15 years old, it drops down to 12%.
Wow. So it almost like halves every single 5 years. Somewhere around there. Yeah.
And they were talking about like, it's not that everybody's not smart and that they're not creative and they're not geniuses, but it has to do with the way the school system has taken away creativity from all these people.
So we like lose that kind of piece over time. That's really interesting because over history, right? Let's just talk about history in general. We talk a lot about the famous people, right? They're artists, right? They were scientists, these sort of like creative things, right?
Who we say they're geniuses.
Yeah. We never really talk about the people who are, I don't know, fucking accountants or something. Yeah. or people who lifted or whatever, right? Those people don't go down in history as like these geniuses. But they're all sort of in these creative sort of arts and aspects and things like that. And it makes me think about myself because I'm the first person to say that I'm not creative. It's hard for me to sort of create. Maybe it's hard for me to create in a traditional sense. Like I can't draw, I can't paint, you know, I can follow music. I can't really write music. But maybe I'm creative in other aspects, you know, maybe it's in.
Well, you're podcasting, you're being creative.
Yeah, that's a creative outlet. And so there's different ways to do it. But I agree, man. I see it like in like my daughter, you know, I'm like, man, she's just like dear old dad, is not very creative, you know? And it's like, I don't know, maybe it does have something with the school system.
I bet
maybe.
though, when you looked at her right now versus at 5 years old.
Oh yeah.
Completely different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the way they think is,
it's totally different.
You're
yeah.
like, oh, and then as parents, as a society, we take away this creativity and this thought process of thinking outside the box.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've tried to do that more with her now. Like yesterday, she had to paint a pumpkin for like a Halloween thing at school, like a book character. And so she has this book that has like a reindeer in it. And I was like, cool, like paint the reindeer, you know? And so I was washing dishes and just like cleaning up and doing stuff. And she was like, can you help me paint it? And I was like, nope. I was like, if I can figure it out, you know? And so she painted it. She didn't like it. I was like, we can wash the paint off. You can try again. So like just doing it again. But I was like, I don't want to go in there and take away your creativity. Like just do what you're going to do, you know?
Yeah, dude. Speaking of creative, this experiment from Stanford. I don't know if I shared this one with you either.
Let's see.
So Stanford had an experiment that they sent 8 people to the psych ward, and they all got diagnosed when they went to the psych ward.
Okay.
To have a mental disability.
Okay.
Or something wrong with them, like multiple personality disorder or whatever.
Okay.
These 8 people. And then Stanford went to them and be like, these people were regular when they went there.
Oh.
So then they went back to the psych ward and they started talking again. And the psych ward was like, okay, send us 8 more and we'll guess who it was. Then the psych ward was like, oh, we think it's these 8 people.
That have mental conditions. Well, Stanford never sent anybody to them. So they all of a sudden were searching for normal people. And they said these people were normal and they weren't crazy. But they were already at the ward.
There were people already at the ward.
What?
So it just tells you, and in the article itself, how if you put someone in this situation and they're already predestined to be mentally ill, you're going to diagnose them as that.
Yeah.
Right. And therefore, are they really mentally ill?
Yeah.
Can we not be biased? And that goes across the board in a lot of things, right? So a lot of people are like, I have a problem with weight loss. Do you really have a problem with weight loss? Or is it predestined because you tell yourself and then you sabotage yourself, right?
Yeah, that's very interesting because we've talked a lot about like, I think the issue comes when people start to identify themselves as that thing, right? Oh, I have a problem with weight. I have a problem with building muscle.
Nathaniel has a small penis.
Yeah, I got a micro. You know, I have anxiety. I have depression. And then you just kind of like allow that to sort of like shape your life, you know?
So let's go into the anxiety thing. I think a big part of why people are so anxious today is because they're self-diagnosing as anxiety. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. There's probably people who really do have anxiety.
For sure. Yeah.
But the percentage is way too high. Way too rapid of where it's at. It's just the matter of knowledge. The same concept with ADD, ADHD. Yeah, yeah. And you see it as a disability when ADD or ADHD is not a disability. It could be something used for very good. Sure. But you use it to cripple yourself. Yeah. And I think that's the difference.
And I think it comes from the desire to feel like special. Or even to feel like you're part of something, like you're part of this group of people that have this mental disorder.
Because we're tribal.
You want to feel special, like, oh, I have this special condition that makes me different than other people. And so you start to like identify it as it like completely, you know. I'll never forget, I had a friend a while back, we still talk every once in a while, and he was dealing with depression and stuff like that at the time. And I think I had said something to him a certain way, and I said, you're depressed or something like that. Like I just said it like that. And he said, no, I am not depression. Like that is not me. It's something that I deal with, but I'm not this thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. Like at the moment I
Mind
was, yeah, I was dead, dude. But it kind
You're
of
a philosopher, bro.
yeah, I was like, this guy genius. Is he probably 2%?
Are we smoking pot right now?
But it really made me think, and it makes me think a lot about my stuff that I deal with, you know, and it's like, I don't want to identify as this thing. I don't want to sit here all the time and just be like, oh, no, my anxiety, I can't do it. You're triggering me, you know, like blah, blah,
Just
blah.
not that smart.
Yeah, or whatever, right? Like, I don't want to play this victim, you know, persona all the time because it doesn't help me, right? It doesn't do anything. It doesn't further me. It doesn't take me out of the situation. If anything, it just puts me more and more inside of it. You know, a lot of the times I know therapists will tell people like, you are comfortable feeling this way. You like feeling this way, right? Maybe not intentionally. Like you're not sitting there and being like, oh, I love being sad, but you're just so used to it that at this point you can't like get out of it. It's too scary. It's what you've become used to. Yeah. And so that's crazy, man.
Yeah, dude, if you look at a lot of these things, it's mental, right? So there's a mental capacity to be a genius taken away.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? There's people I hear, oh, I'm just dumb. I'm not that smart or whatever.
Right.
It just is what it is.
Yeah. And if you just keep telling yourself that all the time, then you're setting yourself up for it. You know? Yeah. You've decided.
I mean, if you're diagnosing yourself for anything, and I think this is where we've talked about therapy too in the past, where I think therapy has gone too far that way.
Sometimes, yeah.
Right?
I think so.
I think sometimes you got to push through things.
Yeah.
And that's going to get you over the top a little bit more versus, oh, there's something wrong with me.
That's slightly why I've kind of stepped away from therapy a little bit. I did like it. I think it was helpful at the time, but now I'm kind of going the direction of like, I think I'll take medication and try and figure this out on my own because I just feel like you said, there's certain points in therapy where I'm like, I don't really know if this is helping me or if it's just kind of like cyclical. Like I'm just like sort of validating this position over and over and over again. And I'm like, it's helpful at a time to become aware. But at this point, I'm like, I want to get over it. I'm tired of it. Yeah. So I just kind of want to take it in my own hands and see what I can do.
Okay, dude. Now we're talking about the biggest news in the fitness world.
Oh man, here we go.
Our friend Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff Nippard.
Nippard. Bro, that was wild.
Dude, what a insane story, man. So I'm going to try and get this right. Okay, I'm going to try and get the story right for those of you that don't know or anything.
Fitness related.
Fitness
influencer.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's all just sort of like drama, you know? Yeah. So there's this guy, Jeff Nippard. He is is he an IFBB pro?
I believe so.
Yeah. He's a bodybuilder, right? He's done a lot. I think he's pretty successful.
And he talks like this.
He's a pretty jacked dude. He's very small. I think he's like 5'5".
A very intelligent man.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. His content is pretty good. He's very science-based, which is important context here. All of his content is like the research says and this and that, and that's all he does. And he just kind of lives by that, right? There's another guy. I think his name is Mike.
I can't remember his name is.
Yeah, I can't remember his last name. But he does not have as much followers. He's a little bit smaller of a, I don't know, persona, I guess you could say. He's also a bodybuilder. Not as successful. He made a video, sort of passively, not directly calling out Jeff Nippard, right?
But science-based people.
Science-based people in general, right? Like he was just kind of saying like, if you live science-based, it's kind of stupid. You know, there's like a bunch of other stuff that's important and, you know, just kind of going after people like this. Not anything we haven't really seen before. I think it was a little aggressive. But I think Jeff maybe took, I don't know. I don't want to say if he took offense to it, but I guess he felt the
need to make a video.
Regardless, right? He felt the need to make a video, a rebuttal video, reacting to it, and then kind of saying something back, right? What we would call a clapback video.
Yeah.
Now, I saw the video. I don't know if you did, or I saw like clips of it at least, and it was pretty tame. I don't think he didn't come out. No. He wasn't like, no, you fucking bitch, or you know, he wasn't.
But he did put him on blast.
He did put him on blast. Yeah, it wasn't I mean, the video was right behind him, you know, like Mike is right there talking. And so apparently I guess these guys like fucking go to the same gym.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, another reason why Jeff maybe was like, oh, he's clearly talking about me, you know? And so there's video. They're at the gym together. Mike comes up to Jeff, kind of like shoulder checks him, you know, Jeff laughs a little bit. Mike says, things are about to get real funny. Jeff says, what's that supposed to mean? Then he fucking like choke slams him into the ground.
Into the ground. Hard.
Like, yeah. I mean, Mike is like a huge dude. Jeff's like 5'5", probably like maybe 200 pounds max.
Me and him are pretty close.
Yeah, yeah. And
he just
like,
looks buff.
yeah, he's just super lean. Knocks him to the ground. I think they said it happened like another time after that, but it wasn't on video or anything like that. But here's the thing. Did you watch the video that I sent you, the YouTube video?
Part of it. Yeah.
Part of it, yeah. So Mitchell Hooper made a video, who's a strongman competitor, probably one of the strongest dudes in the world right now. And he said something pretty good at the end of it, which I was talking to my brother about, because he was like, my problem with all of this is obviously the main problem, right, of fucking physically assaulting somebody. But also that it kind of brings this idea that this is shit that happens at the gym, that like people go and fucking fight each other, and it's all like, you know, meatheads and pushing each other around and trying to be badass and stuff like that. And it creates sort of a bad reputation, you know, for a place that a lot of people are already pretty scared of going to, you know, intimidated by it. Oh, it's a scary place. There's a bunch of big dudes, you know, are they gonna be mean to me, stuff. And then you see like two big fitness influencers on there fucking literally beating each other up in the gym. Yeah, fucking dumbasses, you know? And so you've created this whole, I don't know, problem. I feel like that's going to make more people scared of going to the gym, you know, especially people who follow guys like Jeff Nippard, right? Or who are like trying to get into it and like, okay, maybe science-based is the way to go, you know? And like, and then now, I don't know.
Okay, let's talk about the root cause.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
The root cause is science-based versus bodybuilder bro. And the problem is both of them are right and both of them are wrong.
Yeah.
And what we have become in the fitness space is just too tribal. And I was trying to explain this to one of my clients.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, think about the fitness space in a big circle, right? Got the functional trainer guy, got the kettlebell guy,
like a pie
got
graph?
the bodybuilder, got the
powerlifter,
the strong man, right? Look at a big circle, right? One of these guys is not right. One of these guys is not wrong. Like none of them are right. None of them are wrong, because it depends on you. I'm pointing at you out there. What do you want to do? Do you want to feel? You don't have to follow this perfect science-based thing to get a great body. Obviously, that bodybuilding bro guy was like hard work, still get a great body.
Yeah.
A role is genetics and making sure you hit your nutrition. Another example, the science-based guy, it might work really well for someone, but then they're all stressed about that science-based mentality. What do you want to do as an individual, right?
Yeah.
It goes back to you.
Yeah.
And if you want to do the functional trainer, if you want to do the kettlebell, understand there's limitations in each modality. And if you want to dabble in them all and have fun, there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is they're going after the same 5 to 10% guys and trying to talk to everybody, but that's not how it works.
Yeah.
It's just, not everybody's here to build muscle. Not everybody's here to look a certain way. Some people want to be just strong as fuck. Some people want to just have great mobility and be strong in that range of motion. So my problem with it is quit going after each other.
Yeah, that's the thing.
The whole clapback part, just like y'all are all wrong and y'all are all right. Like, just stop.
Like, it makes me wonder. I'm like, what if Jeff just didn't say anything? You know, what if he just like continued making content, just fucking said whatever, you know, and like nothing would have happened. And honestly, it would have looked better that way, because then it would have been like, oh, Jeff's above this. You know what I mean? He doesn't need to clap back to this dude. He's way above it. He's got way more
people
followers.
Love the drama though, man.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Maybe he was doing it for content.
We are part of the problem.
You know, I was telling you beforehand, I was like, maybe it was all scripted.
It could have been.
You know, maybe they decided, hey, we go to the same gym. Let's fucking beat each other up in there. And
let's get more followers.
Yeah. I'll help you out get more followers. We can start this whole thing. You know, I don't fucking know. It could all be like that, you know? But at the end of the day, like you said, this is sort of the
greatest way to get people. Look at Pepsi and Coke.
Yeah.
They divided. That's why there's only Pepsi and Coke now.
Division brings like that loyalty.
Republicans, Democrats, right? Like,
yeah.
Think about tribes. So, it's just,
this is like the extreme end of what we always talk about, of like, hey, just pick something. Nobody's right, you know? And these two guys just took it to a very stupid limit. So now we got to deal with the fallout, you know?
Oops, canceled.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Be smart. All right, let's go into studies. So this good physical fitness from childhood protects mental health. A recent study found that good physical fitness from childhood to adolescence is linked to better mental health in adolescence. These results were significant and timely, as mental health problems are currently a major societal challenge affecting 25 to 30% of young people. These findings suggest that improving physical fitness from childhood can help prevent mental health problems.
Yeah, this is great.
Did you read it?
I did. Yeah.
Don't lie to me, motherfucker.
I didn't. Yeah.
Don't lie.
I did read it. Yeah.
I'm going to call Camille right now.
No, she's going to be like, he's always on his phone. He's always.
He doesn't even talk to me.
She's always reading science-based lifting. I'm
a bodybuilder, bro.
Yeah, she's going to choke slam me. No, this is really cool, man. And it makes me think about myself. Because when I was younger, I'm the first to say I was not an active child. I mean, I skateboarded a little bit. I liked playing basketball, but at some point in my life, I was like, fuck all that noise. I'm going to play video games. Go ahead.
It's wild to me that we keep on separating our physical and mental.
Yeah.
One affects the other regardless. One's not more important than the other.
Yeah.
It's like the continuation of both. It's like me saying sleep is more important than nutrition and fitness. Or fitness is more important than nutrition and sleep.
Or we were just talking about, right? Like science-based is better than whatever. You know, it's everything is a
either or, right?
It's a continuum, right?
Yeah.
It's all together. And I wonder if, you know, maybe if I had stayed more active, maybe if I had done more, maybe if I had something that, I don't know, take my mind off of stuff instead of just being locked in my room playing video games all the time, maybe I wouldn't have as many issues. Maybe I wouldn't have, you know, maybe I would have been able to handle things better or something like that. It made me think about my daughter a lot. And it makes me think about just like children in general now, because I have a client and she has 2 kids. One of them's like 8 or 9, and the other one's like 11. And we'll often talk about how like the day just goes, man. Like, You wake your kids up, they go to school, they come home, you got to like feed them, they got to take a bath, they got to clean or whatever. And then it's like time for bed and you do the whole fucking day again. And it's like, there's just no time for anything, you know? And it's like, you know, it's sort of just modern society at this point.
Why people are fighting for more time at home.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Cause it's just like, I sit there and I'm like, I spend like 30 minutes one-on-one with my daughter every night. And then it's like, all right, bedtime, I guess, you know, and it just fucking sucks, you know? And it's like, by that time too, it's 8:30 and it's like, we can't really go outside and run around and play now. You know what I mean? We gotta like build Legos or, you know, paint or something like that. It's all indoor activities, which are good, but it's like, we're missing out on this whole aspect of humanity, really, you know?
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
It's a big problem.
Yeah.
I can tell you, for me, matter of fact, I see the difference in my kids.
Yeah.
When they're physically active versus not active.
Man.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
All right. Study number 2 is coffee during pregnancy safe for the baby's brain development. Study suggests a new study has failed to find any strong links between drinking coffee during pregnancy and neurodevelopment difficulties in children.
Was this ever a question?
I think in certain locations, yeah, because they drink more coffee. But I think at the end of the day, I think it said in the study, there's like a dosage range that they would be careful with.
Okay.
I forgot what the dosage was. It was like 600 milligrams, I think.
Goddamn.
Because people drink 600 milligrams.
Yeah.
And they said not to drink it too late because it keeps you awake, then affects the baby's health, right?
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was a really good
But there's no direct correlation between drinking coffee and having your kid develop incorrectly. Cool. Well, that's good news, I guess, for coffee drinkers.
Yeah. You can find us on Apple and Spotify. You can rate and review. And if you're looking for YouTube, you can leave a comment down below. Also subscribe. Then our website, strengthsolutionspodcast.com. And we have free blogs, free guides, and programs for purchase. Email strengthsolutionspodcast@gmail.com. Social media is Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, Strength Solutions Podcast. I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
All right. Ready to rumble.
Let's go.
First fitness question. What muscles are important, but people don't really talk about?
Ooh.
Do you want one for me?
Boner.
It's
boner muscle.
And canceled again.
Damn it.
I'm going to say the quadris laborum.
Okay. Yeah. QL.
Yeah. So it looks like this on your spine, right? And if you're not stable or it hurts or anything like that, typically it could cause you issues.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of stability, pain, right?
Yeah. The rotation of the pelvis, you know, sometimes your pelvis is like this, and then one QL is like this, and then the other one's really long.
Right.
And then you're like, why am I like crooked? And then it gets stuck in that state, and then all of a sudden snatch. Like, that's just one of the muscles. And it's deep in the core that you can't really see. So it's hard to connect.
Right. I think one of the ones that I would say is probably the lower traps or the rear delts. I want to go lower traps more because I think, again, it's one of those muscles that's hard to connect to. It's really important in your posture, right? I think too many people try and go ahead. What do you
I was going to say, like, just to show them, like, okay, it's like this at the very mid back, and it goes out like this.
Right. So you have your upper traps, right, that are that little cobra, right? And then you have the mid traps, right, that kind of sit more around like the rhomboids and the shoulder blades, and then lower traps that kind of sit a little bit lower.
Look like a V.
Right. And getting into connection with those, being able to kind of pull that thoracic spine up into position there, squeezing the shoulder blades back properly, in a squat, right, holding them down there, being able to stabilize in a bench press. I think the lower traps are very, very underutilized, underdeveloped, and hard to work too. Like one of the best ways that I like doing it is with a Y, right? A Y, whether you're just
I heard
pronated.
Backstreet Boys. Tell me why.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we should do that. Like whether you're pronated on the ground and just trying to lift up through, or doing a TRX-Y or a banded Y or something like that, just try them out. And you're going to be like, holy shit, like, how do I even do this? You know, like,
and you'll be surprised the overhead mobility that you get out of it.
Yeah. One of the things that I find with people who have like shoulder pain or can't get overhead enough, or just have like a rounded posture, is it comes from the lower traps being underdeveloped, understrengthened, and just like disconnected.
All right. Question number 2. How do I know where to start to help fix my back pain?
Oh, you should know this. You just did this 8 times today.
8 times. So it all depends where it comes from. But I would say like a majority of people, glutes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then sometimes in the QL.
Yep.
That's another one.
Yeah.
But those are probably my primary. And what I tell people is you need to relieve and then activate. And
that's
I think
really
that's
good.
the big part that people don't do. Alleviate, then activate. There's 2 steps.
Yeah, that's a good process.
I did this a bunch today, and it was like, let's get the lacrosse ball in this area, and then let's activate the glutes. Let's get the lacrosse ball in this area. Let's activate the core, because then you take off load of where the issue's at.
Yeah, it's hard to start working on an area when there's pain in the area, right? And so first you have to relieve the symptoms, and then from there you can kind of address the issue. Now, don't stay on symptom relief, because I think some people will do the lacrosse ball, right? And then they'll be like, oh, cool, my back pain's fixed. And it's like, no, there's still more. You forgot the next step.
And so that's where a lot of people are like, well, they told me to stretch this area and it feels better. But I'm like, yeah, you stretched it, it feels better, but it doesn't mean you activated another area to help fix the actual issue.
The thing is if you're stretching it every day, then you're not fixing the problem, right? The problem is still there.
We see that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Question number 3. What are great snacks that are high protein?
Ooh, beef jerky. That's my favorite one.
Damn, still mine.
Yeah, that's like my number one go-to.
Now, I would say if you're trying to look rip up, that's a lot of sodium, so you don't want to look.
Yeah. It's pretty processed too, right? So if you're looking for something that's not processed.
You got your protein shakes, protein bars if you're on the go.
Maybe a yogurt. Yeah, yogurt's good. So let's talk about things that are not sources of protein that I think that sometimes people confuse. So one of my main ones is like mixed nuts. Yes. People are always like, well, it doesn't have protein. And I'm like, not as much fat. You know? And it's also super high calorie and stuff like that. So I think some people kind of confuse that. Peanut butter is another one that I think people are like, oh, it has tons of protein, right? And I'm like,
I actually think that's the main reason why a lot of people gain weight during the holidays.
Yeah.
They'll go to parties and they think, oh, these nuts are healthy.
Yeah.
And then they're eating almonds and like just hammering down. They don't realize like that's 1,000 calories right there.
1,200 calories right now. I should have just eaten the pumpkin pie, man. Fuck.
Exactly, dude, for real. On a real level, and you're still hungry because it wasn't that much food to fill volume in your stomach.
Didn't do anything.
I think nuts were like important back then.
Yeah. I think they're great sources of energy, right? But if we're talking about protein, then I wouldn't put it there.
If you need energy. That's why I think like trail mix works on a hike or something, because you need calories to keep on going, but you don't want to take up a lot of room in your bag with a bunch of food.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Question number 4. How long does it take to get results to lose 40 pounds?
How fast can you cut off one of your legs? I'll do
it. Yeah. So it's all depending on individual, but I would like to shoot for about 1 pound per week.
Yeah.
At best. And I'm talking about that's like a hell of a level.
That's like you being super dialed in.
Yes, that's dialed in all the time.
Yeah.
For 40. That means you have to be dialed in for 40 weeks.
Yeah. And that's a long time. That's almost an entire year.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Now, if you're starting a lot higher in weight, let's say you're like 350, 40 pounds would be a lot easier to reach.
Right. Your body's going to lose that a lot faster. But let's talk about that really quick. So let's do it. You doing it in 40 weeks, right? That's 1 pound a week. Like we said, that's you being dialed in like hella hardcore, nonstop for almost an entire year. I would say though, that if you were going to lose 40 pounds, it would take about a year. Because in those 40 weeks, we're missing about 12, right? In those 12 weeks, you're going to have birthday parties. You're going to have holidays.
No, fuck that.
No, I'm fucking dialed in.
I'm dialed in.
You're going to have a social event. You're going to go out drinking too much, whatever it is, right? And so you got to think about, it's sort of that 80-20 rule that we talk about a lot of the time, right? And so if you are trying to lose 40 pounds and if you're doing 1 pound a week, give yourself an entire year. And still, that's still really hard work. That's still being dialed in all the time. Because you can imagine that 12 weeks, you're going to fuck up, you know what I mean? Cause you're human. You can't be perfect. But I would say at least a year, at least,
and it all depends where you start. That's what I'm going to say. Like if you're 350 versus 250, it's going to be a 9-day difference.
Yeah.
And then also it's going to be a difference on, sometimes you may go through 3 or 4 weeks where you lose nothing, and then all of a sudden 3 or 4 weeks and you lose like 15. Yeah. So we say 1 pound a week is a goal, but
it's more at the end of the day,
it's going to be, maybe you're really dialed in, then you dial back, and then you dial in. It's just it's a game.
It's pretty much 1 week out every month. You're probably going to be a little messy.
All right, guys, if you like what we're doing, you could like us on Apple and Spotify. You can rate and review us. Also, we're on YouTube. You can leave a comment down below. Then, if you like our website, it's strengthsolutionspodcast.com. We have free blogs, free guides, and programs for purchase. Email strengthsolutionspodcast@gmail.com. That's where you can send us future fitness questions. Then, social media, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. It's Strength Solutions Podcast. I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
Until next time, guys, what would?